Hello, everyone, and welcome. We're live as of 5 seconds ago. While people are trickling in, if you can go ahead and share where you are dialing in from, we would love to see. All right, I see some folks popping in. So the folks that are in here, all right, I see in New York City. I'm also in New York City, Toronto, Berlin, Washington, Lisbon, Lagos, Japan, Buenos Aires, Switzerland. Wow.
No one from the Maldives. That makes it
We
us.
got two on this call. I just learned that the LottieFiles team has representation from 28 different countries. So they're bringing a strong representation to this as well. Halifax, Brooklyn, Sao Paulo. Hello, honey. Morocco. Cool. Well, we'll get started in just a minute to get a couple other folks a chance to join, but we're super excited to have everyone here today on behalf of the Contra team and the LottieFiles team. Nottingham in India, another Morocco.
I'm super excited to actually do this. I mean, we've been talking about doing this session for quite some time, I guess. And we've been kind of secretly planning to launch state machines for a long time. It's been a long time coming. And also with me today, my name is Yamin, the global partnership with LottieFiles. On the call, I also got George, who actually leads the dev tooling team. We're also leading product for also our plugins. And I got Mao here as well, who actually does all the cool animations and stuff you see on LottieFiles.com, on our social media, different things, those are stuff that Mao does. So kind of have a full pack powerhouse today to kind of show you guys how statements actually work. George, Mao, you guys want to add anything before we start?
Nothing in particular, but I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead,
Sorry,
Matt.
I was going to say, you covered it pretty well. Yeah.
Awesome. And just in terms of introduction, I lead the product team at Contra. And at Contra, we partner closely with LottieFiles so that all of the work that you do with LottieFiles and designing and motion and learning new skills like state machines, you can actually earn from that. So I'll pop back at the end to talk a little bit more about how you can earn using some of these tools. But for now, excited to have the LottieFiles team dive into a demo and walkthrough of state machines.
All right. Let's actually start. All right, so guys, welcome to our session with Contra to talk about, of course, state machines. And the reason why we really want to do it is because we know we have a lot of experts on Contra and folks who are also interested to become experts on Contra. We just want to show you guys something that we can actually add value to what you guys already have. And of course, when you guys are building stuff for clients, for different people doing your freelance work, we thought this would be something very cool that you can actually add to your arsenal to actually make the products even better when you guys actually deliver those stuff to people. So just bit of introduction about LottieFiles. Of course, LottieFiles, over 15 million designers, developers from over 200,000 plus companies actually work on LottieFiles to actually bring motion to our to your products. Our main thing is just very simple. We are trying to democratize motion design. We want to make creation easy. We want to make collaboration easy. Of course, we want to make it easy for you to implement so that you have a very smooth workflow where you can actually go from animation to implementation in the easiest way possible. And we have multiple ways you can actually get started with LottieFiles and, of course, implement with LottieFiles. So if you were talking about state machine, of course, I got to talk about .lottie. So a lot of people do ask this question: why does .lottie actually matter? We always talk about how tiny it is, but we never talk about how mighty it is. So .lottie itself is, first of all, it's small. Um, if you compare it to a LottieFile, it's even smaller. But one thing that about .lottie is also scalable. In terms of being extremely lightweight, .lottie also comes with built-in interactivity. In addition to that, you're also able to add, because it's a tiny but mighty file, you're also able to add multiple animations, multiple things into the file. One thing you can actually add to the .lottie file format that we might actually not demo today is, of course, you can also add multiple themes. So imagine if you have one animation, but you have multiple themes, you can also add those themes into that one file format. So imagine having a lot of themes, and then, of course, you can change based on that as well. And, of course, since that's 2 weeks back, you can now also add state machines. As you can see here, you can actually add interactive states to your animation. As you can see, you can just even change everything. You can make the animations pop, just add it natively into different things, and you can actually start working on animations, where you can actually start building product logic for your animations, and then these can be easily added into your products. Now, of course, wait, give me a sec. The thing that we're looking into from a state machine side is we just want to make it easy for you to have no code interactivity. You don't necessarily need to now code everything. We had state machines for a very long time. It was always available for on the dev side, where designers just set segments. Now designers can come in, you can set up every single way on how the animation should operate from start to end, and just hand it off to the dev to be implemented. And of course, you can do real-time interactions. As you can see here, I can actually play with all of these animations, and I can actually add these into my design. And the last thing, of course, once you have all of these things ready, you can have a very seamless workflow where you can actually go from animation into implementation easily. You can give whatever you imagine on the product logic side, make it into an animation, and actually hand off to the dev. And all the dev has to do is just implement the file and actually, of course, do something a little bit more, which is amazing. So in order for us to kind of go through, what we're kind of looking into from, of course, a Contra expert side is we just want to help you guys to upskill your design with state machines. And we hope that well, after this session, you guys if you guys have like even more questions, just come in, talk to us. One thing that is available right now, if you are an expert on Framer, a lot of us expert on Framer or Webflow, you can easily even add this into your Webflow project or Framer project just using our plugin. And of course, if you're on a creation side, whether it be you create on After Effects, Figma, even using the Lottie Creator, you can actually create that animation, bring it to state machines, and actually make it interactive just like that. The last thing, of course, for you guys, we'll also be creating a Lottie Creator course pretty soon, so that you can also learn, in addition to state machine, but the other ways you can actually upskill yourself and use Lottie Creator to bring even more better animations into your products. Now, I'm not gonna spend a lot of time talking about the stuff. Of course, I'm gonna show you guys the cool stuff. So I'm just gonna hand it over to George. George is actually from he's leading product, like I said, for dev tooling side, and of course, working on state machines as well. So I'm just gonna hand it over to George, and George can probably take over everything and just
Sure.
have fun with you guys. All right.
Great. So yeah, you
George.
can actually move to the next slide, I think, if it's the slide I'm thinking of. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to briefly go over like what a state machine is. A lot of you are probably already aware of this, but just in case you aren't. So a state machine is really just a way to go from one state to another state based on some kind of input, some kind of logical input. So a good example is like a door. So a door can be locked, it can be unlocked and closed, or it can be opened. But it can't be like locked and open at the same time. So you have two inputs for your door. You have a key. You can insert the key and turn it, and that will either lock it or unlock it. or you can pull the handle or push the handle, and that will open it or close it. So if you look at the diagram on the right side here, we have, if we start with the locked door at the top, if you turn the key, it's unlocked. And if you turn the key again, it's locked. But if it's locked and you try to pull the handle, it won't open because there's no connection from locked to open. First, you have to go to the unlocked state. So from the unlocked state, then you can push or pull the handle and it opens and closes the door. So that's a basic state machine. And so the inputs are key and your handle. And the way that the user interacts with this state machine door is by turning or pushing and pulling. And I would actually like to go through an example with everyone. So this is something you could probably go like play along. I'll share my screen. First, I want to move a window, sorry. Okay. Here we go. Is this sharing? Okay, great. So you can see my screen now. If you want to play along, you can go to, I don't think I can chat, but you can go to creator.LottieFiles.com. If someone could post that in the chat, that'd be great. And I'll make a really simple, yeah, great. Creator.LottieFiles.com. I'll make a very simple button animation here. So I'm going to start with a rectangle, and let's center it for those of you who care about such things. Mind you, I'm not a designer, and you're going to notice that in my design here, it won't look that great, but I'm going to try to make it look like a button by, of course, rounding the corners a bit and adding a stroke. So there's our button. If you want to just draw a rectangle here, it'll be the same thing. And then we need to set up our animation. So from here, I'm going to create an idle state. Sorry, I should say idle segment. It's going to be one frame. So I'm going to start at frame 0 and go to frame 1. And I'm going to click this button down here. Let's see, I can actually draw to show you. I'm going to click this button down here. And I'm going to click Add Segment. And you'll see my segment is from frame 0 to frame 1. A lot of you probably use segments already. So I'm going to call this idle. And then going to move everything up one frame. And I'm going to add another segment. This one's going to be hover. And again, I'll move everything up a frame. Sorry, 2 frames. So it's 2 frames, 2 frames, 2 frames. And this is click. And now I'm going to set up the animation real quick. So I'm going to add a color keyframe here for idle. I'm just going to add 2 keyframes doing nothing for idle. So this is the state where it's going to be not moving at all. I'm going to go into the hover state, or I'm calling it state, but it's a segment at this point. I'm going to jump up 2 frames, and I'm going to add another keyframe for the color. And let's see, I'm going to make it this blue color when I hover it. And then the click, I'm going to jump ahead to click. And then I'm going to add another keyframe with what other color. So if I go all the way back, I have my idle state, and then I have hovering, and then clicking. And that's all we need so far to make our first state machine. So we can just click up here, state machines. And down in the bottom left, we have our 3 segments there, and now they're states. We can just drag and drop them. So I'm going to drag idle, hover, and click. And I'm going to arrange them in a little tower here, just because the transitions will look nicer. So you can imagine from idle, we have an inside, which is here, and we have an outside, which is here. So from idle, we're going to go into hover, And then from hover, we're going to go into click. And then, of course, the user will return. So from click, we're going to go back to hover. And then from hover, we're going to go back to idle. So now it won't do anything. If I hit play, it'll just actually, yeah, it'll look like it's not doing anything, but it's going through the whole state machine pretty quickly. So I'm going to add inputs here. These are like logical inputs. These are not user inputs. So one of these is going to be like hovering, and I'll make it a Boolean, true or false. So like I could start it false or I could start it true. I'm just going to start it false because we're starting at idle. So the user is not hovering right now. I'm going to make another one for clicking. And again, going to start it with false. And then between these, from idle to hover, I need to add, if I click on the line here, on the transition line, you'll get another little window that you can add a condition. So here, I'm only going to allow going from idle into hover if hovering is true. And then returning from hovering into idle, I'm going to do the opposite. So, oh, sorry. So if hovering equals false. And I should be able to show this if I hit play. I can toggle hovering on the right side up here. So I can toggle it on and off, and it's currently not doing anything. I wonder why. Let's see. Hovering equals true. And then hovering equals false. Do I have the right keyframe set? Not sure. Let me try adding the clicking. Clicking equals true. Clicking equals false. There we go. I think because I had it wired up to click already, it was running to the click state. So you can see if I toggle hovering here, it turns to the hovering state. If I toggle clicking from there, it turns to the clicking state. But if I have hovering toggled off and I click clicking, it doesn't change at all. So that's great. Like I'm toggling them here, but we need the user to be able to change this themselves. So I'm going to click interactions here, and this is how the user affects the state machine. I'm going to add an interaction, and pointer down is click. So my mouse pointer goes down. When my mouse pointer goes down on that rectangle, then I'm going to add an action here. So something will happen when I push my mouse pointer down. And we're going to set input value. And I'm going to set clicking equal to true. Because when I click, I want clicking to be true. I'll save that. And we'll do pointer up on the rectangle. So when I let go of the click, then of course I want to do set input value. I want clicking to be false. And I'm going to do the same thing here for pointer enter. This is when my mouse enters rectangle. Then I'm going to make hovering equal true. And the opposite. Pointer exit, rectangle, set input, hovering equals false. And now I can move my mouse in and I can actually interact with it. And if I click it, it'll change that darker blue color. And that is the first demo. So this is probably the most basic case. So just to go through it one more time, we have our states, which are segments in animate mode up here. And those states have transitions that go between them. And those transitions between them have gates. They have conditions. Those conditions check inputs. In this case, hovering, it checks if it's true. And those inputs are defined up here. And then interactions can change those inputs depending on the user's behavior. So I want to make one more. I'm going to create a new file. And this one's going to be a little more in depth. So I want to make 2 rectangles. Actually, I'll just do this. So my goal here is I'm going to click one rectangle a number of times, and then I'll trigger something with this rectangle when I click it. And the thing I want to trigger is I want to have 3 shapes here. I want to have a circle, a triangle, and a star. So if I click this square one time and then I trigger, I want the circle to change color. If I click this square 2 times.
I
Yep.
think you're sharing the wrong screen.
Oh, my apologies. You are totally right. Let's see, present. Sorry, guys, this is my first time with StreamYard. This one. Good call, Mo. Okay, sorry. I hope not a whole lot changed since then. But okay, so I have 2 rectangles. I have a circle, a triangle, and a star. I'm creating those up here. So when I click this rectangle, if I click it one time, and then if I trigger this one, so this one will be the trigger. And I'm actually going to name this rename. And rectangle 2 here. So if I click this rectangle once and then I trigger, then I want this circle to turn a different color. If I click this rectangle twice and then I trigger, then this will turn purple. If I click it 3 times and then I trigger, then this will turn purple. So again, I need to set up my segments down here. And let's see, first I'm going to create my idle state. So again, just a single frame, from 0 to 1. Add segment here, and I'll name this idle. And then jump ahead. This will be my next state, my next segment here. This one I'm going to call circle. And then one more time for triangle. And then one more time for star. Okay, so for idle, which is this first frame, I want all of these to not change at all. So I'm just going to add 2 blank color keyframes here. Then circle, this one needs to be, actually, I'm just going to add blank keyframes for all of them at first, and then I'll go through and change them all. So I'm just going to keep adding these blank keyframes. There we go. Okay, so circle is the end of this segment here. We have these 2 white lines here. So I want it to be on that keyframe. So if I click that keyframe, I'm going to click circle and I'm going to change it to purple. And then I'm going to jump forward 2, because that's going to be the end of triangle. And I'm going to make triangle purple. And then again, jump forward 2. And I'll make star purple. So what I should have is I should have, if I click once, they're all gray. If I click again, they're all gray. If I click again, circle is purple. If I click again, they're all gray. If I click again, going up 1 frame, and triangle is purple. go up one more frame, they're all gray, and then one more frame, star is purple. And that's it for the animation so far. So we'll go over into state machines, and I will set this up. So idle needs to go into all of them, because remember, if I click it one time and then I trigger, then it goes to circle. From idle, it goes to circle. If I click it twice, then from idle, it goes to triangle. So idle is going to be the center here. And I'm going to exit idle and go into all of them. And same thing on the return. I'm going to return from all of them into idle, because I want to be able to repeat it. So I click once here, then I trigger, then I click 3 times here and I trigger. I want to be able to see those happen. I don't just want it to happen once. So I need to go back into idle. And then let's set up the inputs. So we need a numeric input for how many times I've clicked. So this is just a number, and I'm going to change this number when I click. We'll save that. I need an event for triggered, and that will fire. I'll fire that event when I click the square, and then I need another event for reset. And from idle, we want to go into circle. So from idle going into circle, we need to make sure that clicks equals 1. And we also want to check triggered. So only go from idle when triggered happens and clicks equals 1. And then we want to go into triangle only when clicks equals 2 and also triggered. And then same thing going from idle into star. We want to make sure clicks equals 3 and then triggered. So then we also have to do the return trip. So while we're in all 3 of these, the click number is going up. It's going. If I click the square, 3 times, and then I trigger it, it'll go into star. But then the click number is still 3. So if I return back to idle, it hasn't changed from 3 yet. So I need to make sure that it changes to 0 at some point. I'm going to choose to make it 0 on each of these states. So after I enter star, like right when I enter star, I want to choose an entry action here. So I can click the state, I get this window. I'm going to choose an entry action, and I'm going to select set input value clicks equals 0. So I'm going to do that to all of them. Entry action, set input value clicks equals 0. So on star, when I enter star, clicks will equal 0. When I enter triangle, clicks will turn into 0. When I enter circle, entry actions, clicks will turn into 0. There's other places you could have done that 0 change, but it has to happen somewhere before you start counting the clicks again. And then I only want to go back into idle when I reset. So from circle, I'm going to say reset. So only if reset happens, go back into idle. And I'll do that for all 3 of them. So from star going into idle, add a reset. Okay, so the state machine is all set up. I need to set the user interactions though. So if I click in clicker, then I want, sorry, not set input value. I pointer down, I click clicker, then I want to increment. I chose for my action here, I chose increment. I want to increment clicks up by 1. So that means every time my pointer goes down in this square in clicker, then clicks will have 1 added to it. So we'll save, and we can actually go and check that now. You'll see clicks over here. And if I click it, it goes up. So I can go up pretty high. I'll set that back to 0. So then on top of that, I want this to be the reset button as well. I'm going to repurpose this as the reset button. So I'm going to add a fire event reset. So when I start clicking in there again, it will reset, and then it will start incrementing. It'll increment by 1. And then we just need to set our triggered. So pointer down in the trigger. We need to fire an event. We need to fire triggered. And this should work. So we can watch the inputs go up. If input is 1, then I'd fire. If the input is 2, then it's triangle. Input is 3, star. And I can do this on repeat. 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2. And this is just an example of the sort of creative things you could do with state machines. Obviously, this example is just to show you how to do it, but I'm sure you can come up with interesting ways to use this information. So that's all from me. I'm actually going to pass it on to Mao, who is a designer and is going to show you more beautiful things than this. And he will actually show you ways that you can use it in the real world.
Awesome. Thank you, George. So yeah, George, you explained it very beautifully. So I'm going to try to see if I can do the same as well. I'm going to be sharing my screen. You know, if I'm sharing the right one. Okay, yeah, that is. So feel free to follow together with me as well. So we're going to do 2 different demos. If we have time, I think we do have like 30 minutes. So first thing is like a simple star rating, which is quite easy to do with 5 different segments. And the second one is a volume dial. You can actually try this out together. You can go to lottie.link/star rating or lottie.link/volume dial to follow together with me. Both of those are remix links. If someone could help us post it on the chat. Cool. So what we're going to do with the volume dial is simply do an increment but just by pressing this increase or plus, it's just going to keep increasing the volume. So idea is not to do a lot of segments here. So ideally, you would expect this to have a lot of segments from min to max, but we'll see how we can do it with just one animation itself. But before that, let's go to the star rating. Okay. So here it is opened in my Lottie creator. So I'm just going to show you the segments that has already been added into the star rating itself. So I'm just going to go to the button here, and then it just shows star 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All of these are segments added into the animation itself. If I play them, it just goes from 1 star, 2nd star, and 4 and 5. Yeah. So now I'm going to go ahead and go into my state machines, and you can see all the segments that is already being added into the animation itself. So once you grab in any segment from here, it becomes the initial state, right? But you don't want the star 1 to be the initial state, because this actually needs to be triggered through my interaction, right? So you can actually set that up pretty easily using global state. You can I'll just delete this and grab this little thing here. Let me try to zoom in there. Yeah, the global state here, and then bring it up. And this is where you can actually go to any state at any given time, which means this is in this case, it's gonna act as my very first frame, which is the blank frame. And then it's gonna go, I'm gonna set it up in a way that it goes from star 1, 2, 3 to 5, right? So I'm gonna bring in all my segments in. And let me arrange them in a nicer pattern. And before actually connecting the transition, I need to input and input. Right now I'm at interaction, so I'm going to go to input, and for something like this, numeric input is going to make more sense. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to a numeric value. And while the default is 0, I can just say something like rating, right? And then save this. Now I'm going to go ahead and connect all of this. And then I'm going to add the condition. If the rating is 1, it's going to go to *1. If it is 2, 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So I'm going to go ahead and say this is going to go to *1 immediately if the rating is equal to 1. And then this is going to go into 2 if the rating is 2. Oops, that's 1, 2. And this is going to be 3 and 4, 5, right? So I've set the conditions. Now you can actually, without, like George explained, you don't have to have an interaction set up to see if your state machine is working. You can just simply press play and then change the numbers here so that you can see that it goes from one to the other according to the conditions that you have placed in here. Now, all I need to do is just simply create an interaction for me to actually interact with the canvas so that the inputs and the transitions actually work. So I'm going to go ahead and put an interaction that say, just click on it, click on what layer. So in this case, it's going to be *1. And then the action should be setting an input value to be rating 1, right? So let's see if that works. I'm going to play this and then press on *1. That works perfectly. I'm going to do the same with the rest of it. *2, which is going to be my second one. And I think this is pretty easy to set up. Just need to set the ratings according to whatever you set, however you set it up, right? So it's going to go with 2, 3, and you can set up the 4th and the 5th one as well. So that's how you can set up a simple star rating just using global state, where you don't need to link a lot of things going back and forth just by using global state. You can go back here as well. And right now it's playing the animation again, but you can actually set up an animation where the transition goes back, so it looks a little smoother. Right now it's just playing the first segment again, so it doesn't look super smooth. Yeah, cool. Now let's go ahead and add states to the volume dial, right? So again, you can go to lottie.link/volume dial to follow along with me. So in this case, we don't have any segments added in. So how can we actually control when you don't have any segments added in? Right now, it's just playing from min to max, which doesn't have any, like I said, any segments. And if you are to add segment, it's going to take a lot of time from one frame to the other, and then all the way to this 2 seconds, right? Yeah, I'm going to go into state machines here again, and then you can see there's no segments added in, but you can actually switch it to animations, where that will show you the animation that exists. Our team is working to bring in multiple animations in so that you can link between animations as well. But right now you can use the animation that is open in the animate mode. So I'm going to bring in my main scene. And if you play it right away, you can see that it's just playing the whole animation. You can actually, you don't want that to happen here. So you just want to turn off the autoplay so it doesn't play when you press here, right? So you want to interact with these two buttons so that the animation starts. Now I'm going to go ahead and add an input value, which is going to be, again, a number, which we can say something like level. And then this is, again, going to be a numeric. Save it. And we also want something to drive the animation back and forth, which can be like a event trigger. So we're going to add and just something that we can fire, which can say maybe level updated, something like that. So we're going to use both of these inputs to add conditions to drive this animation, right? So the next thing here is go and add the interaction. Similar to the second example that George was explaining, we can actually add an interaction that says, if my pointer is clicking on the increase or the plus sign here, what should happen, right? So we're going to increment the input of level by maybe 3. So this is actually going to be binded into the progress of the whole animation. So you can actually set this up based on how bigger the chunk should be when the animation is played. So I'm going to go with 3. That looked pretty good while I was actually animating this. So now I'm also going to add one more action, that is the input of the event that we need to fire for this to happen, which is going to be the level updated. Okay, we have 2 of this set up now. We can actually save this, and then let's do the same for the decrease as well. So I'm going to add a decrease here, and then set the input. Oops, this should be decreasing, right? Decrement, decrease it by 3 as well, and then fire the event level updated, both of them. So before setting up anything again here, I'm just going to see if everything is working, if my inputs and the interactions are working. So if I'm going to click on my plus, you can see that the level is increasing, right? And then if I click on here, or maybe I set the decrease up. Oh, I didn't set the level. There you go. Okay. So if I press the minus or the dash here, it just keeps decreasing. So we have both of them set up. Now we're going to use a function called set progress in state machines to drive this. So I'm going to go ahead and go to and click on the set state here, and then just set an entry action. So this is where you're going to say, hey, set the progress of the of this whole animation itself. But I don't want it to be just a percentage. I want this to be linked to my level input, right? So I can actually set this up and say, link this to my level input. So if anything is changed, the progress is going to be linked with my level input. Now let's see if that works. But I'm going to press 1. Nothing is happening right now because the default value is 0. So right now it's only working the default value because we haven't connected any transitions. So I'm going to go ahead and actually, just to show you guys how this is working, if I change this to 10, it's actually going to change, right? The progress, you can see it from this little bar here that 10% of the whole animation is played. But I'm actually going to change this back to 0 and show you how we can actually drive this to using the interactions we made. So I'll keep it at 0. And now we can do this little trick where you can connect it back to the actual, back to the same state. And then we just need to remember the event we created to fire. You just need to fire that when you're going back, and it has to be done immediately, right? So I'm going to go ahead and change this to level updated. So now, ideally, it should be working. Now it's at 0. So if I keep pressing plus, as you can see, it keeps increasing, and then you can decrease it too. There you go. So you have set up this animation to play parts of it, the chunks of it, based on the levels that you set from here. And right now it's going +3. And if I change the actions to, let's say, something like 10, which is an even number, and for this one to be 10 as well, it's going to play 10% of the whole segment here. Oh, sorry, the animation here. So if I press play, you can see it's been increased by 10, right? So you can do that pretty easily. And you can see that it's going a little lower than 0 on the input, but visually you don't see it. And if I go over 100, it's still, the input keeps changing as well. We can set it up to keep in between 0 and 100, but I think we are a little bit over time on my end, so maybe we can do it some other time. I'm gonna hand this over to Yamin. Yamin.
All right. Yeah. So I believe this is. I mean, thank you guys for listening to the stuff that we just showed. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to like drop in our community and of course reach out to us on Contra. I'm more than happy to just jump in and help you guys out. And yeah, over to you, Alison.
Awesome. Thank you, Yamin, and thanks all for the awesome demo. I personally am not a designer by trade, but I'm always amazed with what I see you can do in LottieFiles, and seeing the final output that folks like Mao and his team are creating is really incredible. And so we just wanted to talk a little bit at the end about how all of this ties back to Contra, and really just highlighting that there is opportunity to earn with these skills. So for those that don't know what Contra is a professional network for creatives. We have over 1.3 million creatives on our platform today, and that number is constantly growing. We also have over 70,000 clients that are hiring. That can be anything from creative agencies to startups to individuals that are looking for talent like all of yours, very heavily weighted towards the design and development skill sets. And so that fits really well with what we see with LottieFiles. To date, we've had over $1.5 million in opportunities for, LottieFiles projects on Contra. So that's what we're showing on the left. So that's $1.5 million in opportunities to earn on the platform. And more broadly, we also see a really strong desire for motion design as more and more tooling is coming out that's raising the bar on what design means. We see more demand for motion design. And so clients are constantly looking to hire top tier motion designers. And it's really today more than ever. You can see on that chart how much the increase in just the last couple of months has been. So this cumulative number is at about 1.3 million, but growing very high month over month. So to hop to the next screen. So just about LottieFiles and Contra. So we've partnered with the LottieFiles team to host the LottieFiles Expert Program. So this means that you are a certified expert in using LottieFiles. We do this in several different ways. So LottieFiles in Figma, LottieFiles in Framer, LottieFiles in Webflow, and LottieFiles in After Effects. So regardless of what core skills you're using LottieFiles with, there is a program for you. So you can go to that URL at the above, and I know it's shared in the comments, contra.com/LottieFiles, to check out the different expert programs and apply to them. On Contra, you'll be able to showcase your work. So you will share examples of the work that you've done to kind of stand out and build your reputation. And I will say as an aside, the work that is done in motion design, and specifically Lottie, when you look at our feed and when you look at our discovery, it really stands out for the quality and for really how it showcases. So you all are set up for a lot of success on there. And coming very, very soon, you'll be able to also share your work. So things like work in progress, recent projects you've done, even side projects or cool things that you've created, examples of work that you do with state machines directly to the Contra feed. So that will be a whole new way to get discovered on Contra by the 70,000 plus clients that are hiring, as well as our broader community of creatives. And lastly, with all of this, you're able to earn commission free. So Contra is 100% commission free. What that means is we do not take any percentage cut from the projects that you get paid for on our platform. So the clients are not paying a percentage to us of what they're paying, and you are not paying a percentage. So you get to keep 100% of your earnings. And then you're rewarded with getting more visibility. As you earn more on the platform, you get more visible, showcased in more places, which gives you more opportunities to earn. So if you are actively working on side projects or you do freelancing full-time, regardless what it is, we highly recommend signing up and becoming an expert so you have your chance to tap into that $1.5 million in opportunities that is growing every day. With that, we'll go to the last slide and just see if there are any questions. I know there were lots of questions throughout, and so thank you for those. Any other questions that we can answer before we sign off, feel free to drop them in the chat. Give it a minute. Awesome. Well, if you do have any follow-up questions, feel free to reach out to our team or the Lottie's team. You can always reach Contra at hello@contra.com. And Yaman, what's the best email or way to reach out for LottieFiles?
You can always visit us at our community. Let me just add the link to the chat. You can actually talk to all of our team, just meet up with everybody on our team, kind of come and hang out with us. We run a couple of events based on state machines and a couple of other stuff that we're actually working on. So just feel free to come in, say hi. George is there, I'm there, Mao is there. We're doing a couple of these events every now and then. So just feel free to come in, have a chat with us, and just have fun, hang out with us.
Amazing. And I just want to say thank you, Mao and George and Yaman, for the demos today, for sharing incredible information. It's awesome to be able to learn these new things live and from the experts themselves. Anything else from all of you want to add before we sign off?
Just go, maybe something that we always say, try our stuff out, break it, and let us know. And so we can actually improve it and keep making it better. We're always looking for people to try out our stuff, to let us know how we can actually make it better. So, George, you want to add anything to that? Because I know you'll be the one handling all of the comments and everything, feedback. So,
well, it gives me something to do at least. So yeah, would love to hear it.
Yeah, just keep trying it out and let us know. We'll love your feedback. These are first time. I mean, these are first release for state machines. So if you guys have any comments, keep sending us our way. We would love to know how we can further improve it. There are tons of different stuff coming out. I think I put in the chat a couple of stuff that we are working on. So stay tuned and hope you guys enjoyed. Keep sending us feedback, and we'll improve and we'll try to make it even better.
So I see Jordan has a question. So maybe we can wait just for Jordan's question.
Will it also be possible? Yeah. You want to
Sorry,
answer that?
will it also be? Yeah, will it also be possible to show projects with state machines? So Jordan, do you mean your own projects, or do you mean like stuff that we have? Obviously, you can see them on our platform, our workflow. But yeah, these state machines embed directly into websites. They embed into like Notion documents and stuff. I've been adding some into Notion documents lately. Just a lot of places where you can just embed. You can paste a link in and choose embed. These state machines will work there.
I think Jordan might meant Contra. Yeah, there you go.
Awesome.
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
I can answer that. No, I wasn't sure either, George. So I appreciate that. So we do not support the embed directly today, but I will take an action to go back and see what would be needed to make that happen, because we definitely want to make sure you can showcase your work looking as great as possible on Contra within projects and on the feed. So we should have more to come on that. Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone that joined on the live stream on YouTube and on X. This will be available later for anyone that wants to watch the demos again. And I see we have one more last minute question, so I'm going to let the LottieFiles team answer that quick before we wrap up.
Yeah, I can actually take this one. Yes, you can animate in After Effects. You can even animate in Figma, and then you can export it to our platform, the app.lottifiles.com. And all you need to do is just open the animation in Lottie Creator and start adding animations there, states there. And just to add on to George, you can actually bring these animations to no-code websites like Framer and Webflow as well. So you can do the same on how you keep embedding Lotties in both of these apps. Just you need to copy them, but need to copy the code and paste it there, and then the Lottie will be enabled with states.
Yeah, we're very tool agnostic. George, I think I'm gonna let you answer that last question, if we don't mind.
So I'm actually personally not sure on WordPress, but I know there's basically anywhere you can embed it, it will work. Yeah, export to handoff. That does work on our workflow, our platform. So it should be the same handoff system as a normal Lottie file.
All right. Thank you everyone for the last minute questions. And again, thank you everyone for joining today, and to the LottieFiles team for sharing such great information about their product. Excited to see everyone at the next event. Have a great rest of your day. Cheers.
Thank you guys. See you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.